Hello, folks. We're just getting settled, waiting a minute for Juniper to join us. Great to see you all. Hello, hello. We're going to get started in a moment. We're just getting ourselves settled. All right.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. This is
Yeah,
very,
I'm so glad to have you.
yeah, I am so grateful for time zones because I just realized like 10 minutes ago, it's like, oh no, it's 4 o'clock where I am. And we definitely said
Oh,
2, but you're on the
yeah,
West Coast, so it's fine.
I'm on the West Coast, and I thought you were on the West Coast too, so that's why I said
No,
so.
no, you're good. I'm originally from the West Coast, and so like
Gotcha.
a ton of friends and all my family are still there, so I'm used to that time difference.
No, I've been I've been traveling. I'm at my parents right now, so I've been
Oh,
in all of the
wonderful.
time zones in the U.S. The
Oh
continents, I guess, in the past couple of weeks. But um, I'm so glad to have you here.
yes.
Loved your blog post so much.
Thank you.
So beautiful, very much beloved by the team. So we're really happy to have you contributing to SewQueer.
Thank you. It was so fun to write, and I'm an academic in my other life, and so it's nice to have things that aren't academic and where I could just talk about how much I love something and not like critique and compare. Who needs that?
Yes. we
Yeah,
we don't require citations, so
exactly. I could just gush about pattern drafting. It's perfect.
yes, I love it. Well, I wonder if we could start with you just introducing yourselves to
Yeah.
anyone who's watching right now, especially if they don't know you.
Yeah, well, hello to anybody watching now or in the future VOD of this. My name is Juniper. I use they, them pronouns. I, I have been sewing for 18 years, I want to say. It's hard to keep track. My mom put me into small sewing classes when I was young, and then I did that for a few years and then just kind of took off largely on my own. And I've been sewing ever since. I absolutely love it. Like I said, the most of the time I'm a graduate student working on my PhD and very busy doing that. So it's nice to have a break to sew and talk about sewing and making things. It's very exciting. Yeah, I think that's it.
Absolutely. I so feel that. I wrapped up my PhD 2 years ago, and
Congrats.
thank you. I picked sewing back up like my first year back in grad school, so
Yep.
it lets you do other things with your brains in your hands.
Oh my
So
God, it's so
mhm.
nice. Yeah, it's such a needed break to be able to make things. And I mean, as you understand, having a project that you start and finish, and then there's like a final product is, woo,
It's
it is
not a
so nice.
dissertation. It's
Oh
not.
my God. Yeah. Anyway,
You'll get there.
thank you. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
I so feel that. Um,
Yeah.
so you've been sewing for a while, so where did your sewing journey start?
So it started, I mean, I am a from a long line of sewers. My grandma, my mom grew up on the farm that my grandma still lives on, and so like they used to sew and mend everything, use it up, wear it out, sort of family. So I watched my mom darn socks from a young age and learned how to sew. Oh, we might get interrupted by my one of my dogs. I apologize.
It's okay.
Um,
We love dogs here. Hello,
yeah.
dog.
Um, so I learned to sew, I mean, at home, and then a lady that my mom connected us with through church, which is a whole other thing. Like, uh, taught me and some friends how to sew like out of her house, and it was great. So it's like I can still hear her voice say right side onto right side like every time I go to sew things together. Um, and then in in junior in junior year of high school, I was an exchange student to Taiwan, and I was part of a home economic high school. So I was part of the early childhood education group, but there was also like a full sewing machine, like sewing classroom with like a few dozen like industrial brother sewing machines in it. So that was really where I started like pattern drafting, was when I was on study abroad at the home economic high school where everybody
That's
learned how to
amazing.
sew. Yeah, it was great. So I made some things then that I never wore again, but now I make things I actually wear.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So pattern drafting was really part of your sewing journey from like a very early like
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah, from very early. I think I used some patterns at a young age, but I really started pattern drafting right away. I don't know if I recommend. Pattern drafting is a lot easier if you're familiar with patterns and you know what it's supposed to look like. But it was cool, and it definitely boosted my confidence, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, that's fantastic. So your post is a lot about pattern drafting, of course, and really about like the great possibilities that it brings and like the beauty of like creating clothing and creating gender and creating identity and all of those things out of it, which I love. So I wonder if you could just talk a little bit more about that. When did you
Yeah,
kind of start to make those connections? Are there like light bulb moments that you remember? Expand.
yeah. Oh man.
It's the academic in me. I'm
I
sorry.
know. No, you're good. Just like a secret operative trigger word of like, expand on that. Okay. Um, yeah. So I mean, I like came out to myself, I guess is the best way of thinking about it. Like when I was like late teens, early 20s. Um, and wanted, I'd always been like a person who loved fashion, but didn't like get it. Like I wasn't cool enough to like do it right, but I was so interested. Like I loved watching America's Next Top Model as a kid, but I also like wore my cowboy boots to high school, and like I, so I was trying, but I didn't quite understand. So I think once I finally figured out I was queer, it was like, oh, I could do whatever I want, and it doesn't matter, and I can have fun with it. Um, it was such a joy to like begin to play around with like, oh, how do I want to look and how do I want to dress and what do I want to wear, and so I grew, like I said, I grew up in California. I went to undergrad like in the Bay Area, so where things are very chill about clothing and gender and doing what you want. And so I really got a chance to like play around with that. But I didn't have my sewing machine with me, so I wasn't making anything at the time. So it was really, I made good, bad mistakes. I went straight from undergrad to grad school, you know. Uh, yeah, whatever. But that got me back with a sewing machine again, which was wonderful. So then I could really start making stuff and exploring how I wanted me to look and how I wanted my style to be and how I wanted things to fit me. Um, and that's been so fun. And like, oh, we might have another dog. I've got two dogs, so this is gonna be all the dogs. All right.
I just want to be involved.
they they're very kind. They're very good boys. So gosh, started making more of my own clothes. Yeah, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago when I started grad school. PhD programs are unfortunately long.
I feel you. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and it was great. And then, yeah, just trying stuff out, trying to make things that like fit my style and like trying to figure out like what my style was very fun and such a good gender journey of like, what do I want to look like and who do I like the clothing of? Um, and, moving away from that America's Next Top Model, like skinny cishet white woman kind of thing, um,
Totally.
that I had been like enamored with in some ways, but was now realizing the issues that had. Yeah, and I think pattern drafting became especially important to me about 2 years ago when I had top surgery, and like nothing was ever going to fit right again. Nothing I bought from a store. Like, because I've got big old, like, birthing hips and now, like, a flat chest. So I'm, like, I think, like, a women's smaller medium up top and, like, an extra large and, like, down below. And that's no good for buying clothes.
They don't make that.
They don't make that. That's not what they think bodies look like. But it's what my body looks like. And I love my body and all the ways it looks. So it was great to be like, all right, how can I now, sometimes taking patterns, modifying them, and often making my own patterns, like make things that fit and feel good and feel like they're expressing gender and like will get me read in the ways I want to be read or I want to kind of play with, which has been really a good time. And yeah, it's been great. I don't know if you need me to expand further on that.
That's wonderful. It makes my brain go in a few different directions.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that I would love to hear you talk about,
Yeah.
because it's a really common question for folks on SewQueer,
Yeah.
is just talking about kind of the process of when you're pattern drafting fitting to your body. Like, what does
Yeah.
the process look like?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah, totally. So I think the key thing that scares a lot of people is you have to measure like so many parts of your body. And people don't like doing that. It makes it very uncomfortable. But like measure everything, like arm circumference, chest, like the front of your chest, back, like waist. So waist being like the smallest part between like your chest and your hips, then measure your hips, the widest part, and like your upper thigh, your mid thigh. Like you want to get like as much marked down as possible, especially early on, in order to make stuff fit well. And like if you're making like a 1950s style like kind of dress, the big old skirt and stuff, like you don't need your hip measurement. But if you're gonna make pants, you gotta get a lot from like navel to ankle in order to make it fit good. So like step one, measure everything. And then step two, like I talk about this in the article, is like make muslins. So muslin, there's a different fabric named muslin that's like a very beautiful, fancy fabric, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about muslin, which is like this cheap, rough woven, often undyed, unbleached, like fabric that you get for like $3-4 a yard, hopefully, depending on where you're at. And you just make the thing you want to make first, and then it doesn't fit, and then you like kind of measure and safety pin it until you get it to fit better, and then you make it again out of the muslin, and you do that as many times as it takes in order to get it to fit right. I made a pair of shorts the other day. It took 3 muslins to get right because shorts are hard. Bodies are weird. They turned out pretty great, so worth it.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, and the nice part is I only have to do that once. So I'm making another pair of shorts. I started them yesterday because I don't own a lot of shorts. Because it's hard to find like a good gender neutral short.
Shorts are hard.
Shorts are so hard.
Ready to wear and patterns, both. Yeah.
It's no winning. Because otherwise, yeah, it's a mess. But now that I already have a good shorts pattern that I spent all that time and all three muslins on, I could just cut it out this time. I didn't have to measure anything. I didn't have to redo a pattern. It was done. And so like it's a process, but it's worth it. It is
Mhm.
100% worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked the way that you talked about doing muslins in the article because, like, myself included, I think a lot of us are like, oh my God, this is the tedious part, you know? And
Yeah.
the way you talk about this being like an act of care for yourself,
Yeah.
like, I loved that, just like that change in perspective.
Thanks. I mean, it's so one of the things that happened to me during the pandemic that I'm sure happened to many people is I gained weight and now nothing fits. And so it's really easy to just say like, oh, I'll just hold on to these things till I lose weight, or I'll just fit into things that don't fit right. But like, you deserve clothes. You, whoever is watching this, deserve clothes that fit and feel good. And like, making muslins and making sure your clothes fit and feel good is like, it's wonderful, and it is a treat you'll get to enjoy every time you wear that thing. It's so nice, and it's so worth it. And I also used to hate making them. It's worth it.
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that like fit and feel good are like I
Yeah.
like that you put those together because like muslins also let you do the act of like moving and bending and sitting and all those
Yeah.
important things because like your body's not just standing in one place still. So
No. And that's
yeah,
another thing about measurements is you should also take your measurements sitting down. If you should take them standing and sitting because your tummy's like gonna do different things depending on how you are, and your thighs are gonna do different things, and like yeah, you should take your measurements twice. Sorry. Like,
I know it's like it's worth it. You got to do it every once in a while. It takes a little time, but it's worth it.
it is.
Yeah.
You just gotta remind yourself.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I
Oh.
like that too, like sewing through body changes. Like as
Yeah.
it can again, it can be really I'm also like this is also a thing I experienced. It can be difficult to say like, oh my body's changed and now this thing that I made before that I really liked fit. But like
Yeah.
shifting our brain to think about like the active care of like remeasuring and making some new muslins and like that being like some time you spend on yourself is
Yeah.
a really useful kind of way of changing that perspective.
Yeah. I think it's nice. And it's still something like I preach but haven't fully internalized, It's like that we
Yeah,
always do. Of like I know it's good and I know it matters, but I'll still like try and put on shirts that I know just aren't quite right. You know.
yeah,
It
yeah.
happens.
We're human. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's good. I do. Here, I have I'm actually, my phone is on my dresser, so I'm going to grab the
Oh,
item of clothing really fast.
yes.
One of the other things I've gotten into um, is making things that adjust,
Yes.
which
I'm
is
so
like,
on that train too.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, especially I love sewing with quilting cotton because I think it's comfortable and easy and like a great material, and it's cheaper than a lot of apparel fabrics.
Mhm. Totally. And
Um,
like really fun prints too. Like,
Yeah. So this was a matching set I made of like a shirt and a skirt. So the way the skirt works is it like has a back band that ties around the front and then a front band that ties around the back. And so it fits you like no matter what size you are. And
mhm,
I'm
mhm,
so all about that these days. Because I think this is such a new thing in like the world. I talk about the fashion industry and how much it sucks for a little bit. I hate
please.
fast fashion. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for your body and how you think about yourself. In part because like historically, clothing could be very easily adjusted to fit your body. Like this was
Mhm,
not unusual, and things weren't expected to fit in particular ways. A lot of things laced up or like buttoned and were expected to move with how you moved. And now you buy like $7 pairs of pants and $5 t-shirts and expect them to fit one way all the time. But your
mhm.
body's gonna change. And so you should like get stuff that changes with you and moves with you and make stuff that'll do that too. Because it's more environmentally friendly. It's going to make you feel better about your body if you can wear the things that you own and make. Like,
Yes.
it matters. It's just, all right.
I'm
Oh,
on the same train. I've
I
been
know.
making things with drawstrings a lot, like inner
Yeah.
drawstrings, and just yeah, because I'm in a process of like remaking a lot of things that I made 2 years ago that don't
Yep.
fit me now. Like, what if I made this and it would fit me in 2 years?
Yeah.
Even if my body changes a lot. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Mhm.
and making sure that longevity is like built into garments is, I mean, it's a part of like every step of the process. It's part of your muslin and making sure things fit the way you want. It's part of like the way you sew your seams. I've gotten really
Mhm.
into French seams in like the last year or two, and like just everything is French seams because it
Love it.
lasts and they look good. Like, yeah, it matters. I don't know, it's fun.
Love that. Well, so the other direction that my brain took me when you were talking about your
Yeah.
process is really the process of finding your style and like what did
Yeah.
it look like for you?
Oh, bad. It looked bad for a long time. And I don't know. And now I think it still looks bad in like, but in a way I like. Um,
Yes.
because it's not, you know, I've heard this many years ago, and this might be like everybody knows this, but it was useful for me to think about at the time of like the difference between fashion, which is currently like the thing that is happening, and style, which is the way that you dress and define yourself through your clothing. And
Mhm.
like moving away from fashion, which is constantly changing and reinventing itself and doing new things, and instead trying to think about like my style and who am I and what do I like to wear and what do I want to look like was really helpful for me. So I mean, like Pinterest is great. Like Pinterest is wonderful, and you could just cruise clothes and fashion and save stuff you like because it's easy and cheaper than getting magazines. And it's wonderful. Um, so I ended up, gosh, trying to think about like how would I define my style. Um, I wanted when I think about like what do I want to look like, I I want to look queer. And like maybe I mean I'm in the Midwest now, so like I probably already do for a lot of
Feel
people.
that too.
But like but as like a Californian at heart, I still feel like oh, my hair's so long though. I don't this is like, what am I doing? Um will people know I'm a queer person if I'm sure they know. I hope so. But like I wanted to look queer and I wanted to be somewhere I like masc and femme clothes. Like I wanted to be in the middle. And I love historical fashion, particularly 1950s inspired and like Western wear, which is a lot of overlap there, like of that kind of Patsy Cline kind of thing. And especially like nudie suits. Do you know nudie suits?
Well,
Um,
describe them because I've heard of them, but I don't know all of the
yeah.
characteristics. Yeah.
All right. So Nudie is the name of a guy. Um,
Mhm.
in like, gosh, I think it's like the 50s, maybe late 50s, definitely 60s, in Southern California, whom like invented like the rhinestone cowboy look. Like, so you'll see. I think Lil Nas X wore like a nudie style suit to a red carpet a few years ago. Some other famous rapper whose name I don't remember wore one. A Post Malone. I don't. Is he a rapper? I don't know about pop music. I'm like old, I guess.
You're asking the right person.
Sorry, I apologize to any fans out there. But it's these suits that are heavily inspired by Western wear, which is itself like a combination of clothing inspired by like indigenous American fashions and stylings, particularly like beadwork and adornment. Hispanic, like Mexican styling. So like when you think about like oh my God, what's the name for the bands?
Oh, I
Yeah,
totally,
you
yes,
know.
yes, yes, I do know, and I'm totally blanking on the
Yeah,
word. Again,
yeah.
musical distance.
I know, but especially that suit style where it's like the cropped kind of jacket with a straight line
Yeah,
that's like at about the natural waist. So
yeah.
nudie suits are like building on all of that and bringing in and not always in a great way. Nudie suits are also, he was a white man in the 50s who could have been better. And so
Sure.
some of them suck and are appropriative and use Native American mariachi. Thank you, the
Yes.
Abolitionist. You're the
Yes.
best.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
Oh my God. Okay. So some of his suits suck, appropriative, not worth looking back on. Some of them, very cool and interesting. So there's this one in particular I love that is a yellow suit with these beautiful, like huge, like chain stitch embroidered and rhinestone frogs on it, like these frogs on lily pads on this like men's
Oh my
suit,
God. Oh my
and
God.
it's and like that rhinestone cowboy look is like, I just love it, and it's just such a good like gender feel for me of like um this like these because it was such a different feeling back then of like, oh, I'm a manly man who does masculine things, and also I'm going to look good at the rodeo tonight in my
Yes.
sparkles, like,
Yes.
and
Yes.
like, yeah, and it's totally like that. There's this Willie Nelson song called "Cowboys Are Secretly Frequently Fond of Each Other" that Willie Nelson wrote about how most cowboys are at least a little bit gay. You know, it's yeah. And so finding like a way, so I grew up, like I said, I wore cowboy boots to high school. Like I grew up in California, but in like the mountain redneck part of California. Um, for it's not the part that most people think about, but like if you know the West Coast, you know that they're out there. Um,
Yep. I'm in one of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't, where are you?
Well, I'm in Northeast Spokane right now. This is where I'm
Okay.
on the horse ranch where I grew up. So
Awesome. Yes.
you are speaking my language right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So like my high school mascot was like a Hillman who originally like had a bottle of moonshine and a shotgun in the original art. So like
Oh my God. So
I'm
much.
full
Amazing.
California country, like oh yeah. It's great. So like part of what I love about the fashion too is like reclaiming all of that for like my gay little hands can grab, and like
Yes.
taking all that like weird masculinity I grew up with and going, this is mine now in my own weird way. You can't have it anymore. Like I just think it's great. I think having a personal style is, fun and can be silly and like, there's people out there with very refined styles who like, crisp, simple, but you only live once. And like if you're gonna dress up, you might as well have fun.
Fully agreed.
Yeah.
100%. Yes. I I just made a Western inspired shirt that's pink with
Yeah.
X's on it,
Oh, I love
and I'm
it.
like, I'm waiting for it to not be like 100 degrees outside so that I can
Yeah.
actually take a picture of it while I'm still on the ranch. We'll see if that happens.
Oh,
But
I hope so.
um,
Yeah. One of my favorite shirts I've ever made is a Western style shirt that's bright yellow with birds on like I just love it.
oh, amazing. Well,
Yeah.
okay, so that was leads me to my next question, which is,
Yeah.
um, in your article, you talked about this like amazing gown that you made.
Yeah.
And I just really wanted to ask you to talk about some of your favorite things that you've made and to
Oh, yeah.
either show them if you have them or describe them to us.
Yeah, I've got that. We can do some show and tell.
Yeah,
You're gonna look at my dirty, messy room, because my partner and I just don't care enough. It's
I feel that too.
yeah. Um, so the dress I made, which I talked about in the article, so I think it's wrapped up somewhere, um, was super fun. I made it. So I've never like dressed up. I don't know. This is gonna sound sadder than it is, I think. But I've never like dressed up for anything. Like I never went to prom or any of that stuff. It's like, oh, I want a fancy dress. I'm never gonna
Yeah,
wear it anywhere. But like I just wanted one. And so,
yeah,
I got some cheap purple fabric and just like had a good time and made this like very fun big dress of, and it's I think it turned out great. There's some things I would redo. The invisible zipper on the back, not very invisible. Not great.
That's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, that was so fun. God, here, we're gonna go on a journey. I apologize. I know this isn't great for everybody, but we can say hi to dogs.
Oh, they're so cute. What are their names?
So this is Draco, and then that's Milo.
Milo. Oh,
Yes. They're good boys. All right, I'll put you down here. Oh wow. And just go into my closet. So this is my favorite thing that I've never worn because I'm very afraid. So it is just a tunic top, but I did all the smocking by hand.
Oh my God.
And it turned out absolutely beautiful. I'm so afraid about like wearing it and getting it dirty and washing it, and then like what's gonna happen? But it's so cute, and I love it, and I've never worn it.
I mean, I also feel that, but like, oh my God, that smocking is amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it was so fun. Yeah, if you can do embroidery, you can smock. Like that's, yeah, no problem.
I like this is giving me such inspiration for future projects. So.
Oh, here's a different Western shirt I made. Out of all this like lovely quilting cotton.
Are those the ones with the figs on them from Joanne?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God, I love that fabric so much.
Yes. I know. It's one of the things about not being in California anymore is I miss figs. Like, you just can't get a good fig in Wisconsin in the same way you can go to your friend's backyard in California and they have their, like, 50-year-old fig tree that you could just grab some off of.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Upper Midwest fruits, not always great.
Not the
same. I feel you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. But the cheese is very good. The cheese is excellent. Fruit, not great. But it's hard to compete with California in that regard. Oh, bird shirt.
Oh, I love it.
It's so fun. Thanks. Piping was one of the things I wanted to get into more, so I'm not great at it yet, but making my own piping is super fun. Highly recommend it. Especially Western wear is all pipes. It's all just like weird accessories. Yes. I love it. Let me see. Gosh. I'm at the point where a lot of my clothes are handmade, which I love. Let's do... this one's fun. So it's a lovely bead dress with big poofy sleeves and a big skirt. And this dress is a lesson in why you should do pattern drafting and make a muslin.
Tell us.
Because this was going to be a jumpsuit that I didn't measure right and I didn't cut out right because I was solo parenting and I just wanted a break, and so I cut some fabric and I did a really bad job. I did a really bad job cutting my fabric, as you do when you're stressed and you don't prep. And so it turned into a kind of weird fitting, but all right and cute dress. But yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Man, I think that's some of the highlights of. I'm gonna double check, but I think that might be. That's not everything, but we don't need to go through my whole closet all day, or we will be here all day. We'll go back to the original spot. But yeah.
Those are all amazing.
Thanks.
I'm inspired.
Yeah, it's so fun. All right, here's maybe not the most like thrilling one, but like making your own underwear was something I was terrified of. I didn't work with knits for like years. I was so afraid. I was very afraid of knitwear.
Yeah, I feel that. Yep.
Yeah, and then I was on Pinterest one day, and I learned what a double needle was. It was like,
yeah,
what's this? Yep. Okay. And then everything like clicked into place. It was like, this is how you do it. This is what people do. And now I can like, oh, I'll make a t-shirt and I'll make underwear and it'll be fine. And it fits and it's comfortable. And then
Yeah.
like, especially if you are like a, I mean, I guess anybody, but I feel like especially like for trans folks, like it can still be really intimidating to like buy underwear. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's nice to just like buy fabric that who knows what you're gonna do with it. And then just, make yourself some underwear. And it probably doesn't cost that much more than actually buying underwear. Like underwear is expensive.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think as far as recent projects go that I'm proud of, like I'm proud of myself for making underwear that fits and feels good. And like I'm wearing a pair right now, actually. They're great. I love it.
Amazing. Yeah, I so agree with you. I think that like sewing underwear is honestly, it's one of the kind of most requested topics on SewQueer. We get a lot of questions about it. People want
Yeah.
to do it, but it can feel really intimidating.
Yeah.
Um, and we're working on resources for that, everyone who's watching. So
Ooh.
hopefully we'll have some
Yes.
more info for sewing your own all kinds of underclothing that will be
Yeah.
affirming in kinds of ways. Because
Yeah.
yeah, it can like change your whole like the way you walk, the way you feel, the way you move through the world. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll say, like, this pair that I made, I just stole the pattern from some Target boxers. I didn't even try and draft my
Nice.
own. I just
Yeah.
copied it straight from the Target ones that already fit.
Nice. Nice.
Oh well, it works. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. I'm so glad that you're compiling resources for it. I think that's wonderful. I do you know the Lingerie Addict uh, and
Yes.
Cora
I
Harrington?
Her, she's amazing. I
I love her.
actually pre well not well kind of coinciding with So Career Days. I actually wrote for the Lingerie Addict for a while.
Woo! That's so
I
wonderful.
I am an underwear person. I
Excellent.
do
Yes.
love underwear. Um,
I I'm just a fan from afar, but like I love it.
it's
It's
great.
so
Yeah.
so good. It's so interesting. And yeah, and just I think it's Cora, the Cora Harrington who runs and owns and operates Lingerie and Addict, like her relationship to clothing and the way she talks about like care of clothing and the care of your body has been such a positive influence on me for like all of my clothes, not just my undergarments.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
She's well worth a follow on all of her platforms. She's
Yes,
like she's on fire on Twitter.
yeah.
Um,
Oh my God.
Lingerie Addict blog is amazing. Yeah. Mhm. I
Yeah.
wholeheartedly agree.
Yes. I just amazing. Um. Yeah.
So, maybe a good wrap up question
Yeah.
is what is a dream future project for you?
I mean, a nudie
Or,
suit. Like I want to make my own.
yeah,
I want to.
with like rhinestones and everything, the whole
Oh,
thing.
100%. Yeah, I've started stalking like chain stitch like Facebook groups, even though I don't have a chain stitch machine and I don't have $2,000 to get
I
one.
know. I
But
want one, but
I
I
want
also
uh,
don't.
I want one so bad. Like I guess I could do it by hand and just chain stitch it. It takes forever, but it looked great. But yeah,
Yeah.
if somehow I could just like get access to use one and learn how, and like I would love to learn how to like make my own suits. Not just nudie suits, but like suits in general are so intimidating to me. Just all the tailoring, like if you've seen photos of the insides of suits and all the hand stitching and padding and everything that goes into like making a good blazer and like good suit like jacket, like oh, it's
Mhm.
gorgeous. It is terrifying. I think it's one of those things where like I think it'd be worth it to take sewing classes again just to learn how to do that. Like so much I learned this like online now or just trial and error. But I do I think there's so much to be gained by like sitting across the table from someone and having them like walk you through the steps.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that's a dream of mine would be able to make my own suits. And I guess in non-clothing, like quilting, I would love to quilt more. Uh, both of my grandmothers quilted because we're old country folk.
Mhm.
And I've made some lap quilts, but I've never like made a full size one. Like, and it's kind of like a someday I'll be old and like have the time and I'll actually quilt. Um, but yeah, I think quilting is often so underrated. And they're so beautiful and so precious. So yeah,
Mhm.
cool, kind of weird suit jackets and suits, and also like old lady quilts are my dreams. Yeah.
I those both sound amazing, and I'm so with you on wanting to make a suit, and also like they're a little intimidating, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. It's just like
Yes.
yes. So
Yeah.
maybe there'll be a Midwestern suit making class, and we'll see each other
I
and
would love that.
make suits together. That would
That'd
be
be very,
amazing.
oh my God. Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Also, I just found my childhood bedazzler in my closet,
Yes.
so
Oh my God. I
that might need to be
totally
removed.
had one as a kid. I haven't thought about that thing in forever. I
I
totally
hadn't
had a
either, and I was like,
bedazzler.
oh, maybe I need some rhinestones on things.
That'd be great. I should get,
Right, right.
yeah. Dude, they gotta still make those.
You must still make them, surely,
It wasn't just something
surely.
they gave kids in the 90s to keep them occupied. Like,
Here, go. Try not to stab yourself with this while you
yeah,
like
yikes. Those were,
partake in
yeah.
it. They're kind of
Eh,
intense. Yeah,
yeah, they're a little
yeah,
intense. That's fine.
yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Oh, well. Yeah, yeah, bedazzle more stuff.
Right?
That'd be awesome. Do it.
Yeah. Just bedazzle things. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for all your wonderful questions and for chatting. This has been
Yes, of
great.
course. This has been so wonderful. Is there anything that you want to share with the SewQueer community? Last words of advice, things you want to plug, anything like that?
Um, Let me think. So I guess plugs is easiest, which is I'm Juniper's Custom Works is my fun sewing one, and I do commissions, but like I don't really have a ton of time, so like mostly come and hang out for like cool sewing stuff. Um, and then if you want to follow my main account, it's all roller skating these days, but you can if you want to. um, and it's linked like in the description of my sewing account, so you could just follow it there. My gosh, I mean, advice, just like, you know, try it, fail, still do it and fail, and that's fine, and try again, and like, it's, I the first time I tried to make a shirt, I was like 8, and I forgot to like make it so you could put it on. And then I learned, and I learned how to do that. Um, so just keep trying it. Like you're never gonna get more comfortable or better by just sitting there thinking about it. You gotta do it, and you gotta mess up a few times. So go buy
So
some
true.
cheap fabric at like some thrift store. Like I know the St. Vinny's near me has like $1 fabric bins. Like buy some cheap stuff that nobody cares about and that you don't care about, and mess it up a little. Have fun.
Mhm.
It's great. It's worth it. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's excellent advice. It was so lovely to have you here. Such a
Yes.
fabulous chat.
Oh,
This might be like a self-selecting thing because I'm helping choose uh, who are blog contributors. But I just like had such good chats with everyone and had so much in common with everyone, and I really enjoyed that we have so many things in common. So
oh yeah. Anytime you
yeah,
want to chat, let me know. This
yeah,
has been
let's do it.
so
Let's talk
fun.
Western shirts and bedazzling and suits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, being queer rural kids, always a good time. Oh yeah.
It's a thing. Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you so much. I can't wait to see what else comes out of So Queer. Y'all are wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Well, and
thank
have a
you.
wonderful rest of your day.
Yes, thanks you as well. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.